So that's definitely something I really don't ever talk about because I don't like to kind of reveal my strategies.
When I tried to get away, then we got the fight.
This is the worst that we will ever see in terms of AI.
Whatever tools you did yesterday, we don't use them now.
No,
Right?
so I'm already in breach before I start.
Just lying for the company and just trying to take the checks from different places.
I'm glad we both got the memo to wear black shirts today.
It's the best life hack actually. Hello everyone, today we have our guest Jason Hennessey. He's the founder and owner of one of the top marketing SEO agencies in the law firm industry. We're going to be talking about how he built the agency, how he was able to scale it so big, and what it take him to build it.
I'm honored to be here. I'm glad we both got the memo to wear black shirts today. Sardor and I kind of go way back. It's funny, we first met kind of in a executive coaching group called Vistage years and years ago, and we kind of remained friends this whole way, and so our stories have continued to evolve since then, and just an honor to be here. I have an agency, it's called Hennessey Digital, built it up. We just celebrated 10 years last month, and literally on the anniversary of us kind of building that agency 10 years later, we also exited, and so we're going to get into that story about, you know, some of the failures, some of the setbacks, some of the lessons that I've learned, and so I'm super excited to share this story with everyone.
Thank you. Guys, please keep watching it. We're going to be diving deep on every single step of how he have started the business and what lessons he have learned, what kind of wins he got, and what actually helped him to really scale this business, right? And please subscribe and continue watching it. Jason, everyone is saying that AI will kill SEO.
I think, you know, AI is constantly, I think we're kind of in the first inning of AI. I think it's evolving. I think AI, this is the worst that we will ever see in terms of AI. I think it's just going to get better. In terms of like SEO, same thing. You know, I think the core principles kind of have stayed the same. You know, SEO is all about, you know, creating content that satisfies the intent of what people are searching for. And then the Google algorithm is based upon the amount of links that you get that help boost the credibility and the trustworthiness of your asset, which is your website. And so I think there's certain aspects of SEO that, you know, you can certainly be using more AI, you know, in terms of like content creation or optimizing, or, you know, even some of the developmental tasks, you know, a lot of that can be used now with AI if you kind of know how to do it right. But the one thing that I think, you know, you can't necessarily do with AI is build all of those different trust components, right? AI is not going to be able to go out and join the Better Business Bureau. AI is not going to go out and, you know, get a listing on 6 legal directories, you know, that, you know, so like, you know, and that's really what it takes to rank on Google. I'd say that's kind of like 70% of the equation is getting those strong backlinks coming back to your website. So I don't ever see a world where AI is kind of doing that. But at the same time,
but do you think the traffic is going to move from Google
to Chat? That's where I was going to go next. And so, yeah, we're doing a lot of reverse engineering. We're studying that now. And it's really interesting when I start to look at like what does it take to rank on, you know, ChatGPT. Like if you type in, I do a lot of work with attorneys, right? Like who is the best personal injury lawyer in Los Angeles, right? You know, nowadays, like ChatGPT is showing you the sources that they're using, right? And it's no different than reverse engineering the Google algorithm, right? And so a lot of the sources sometimes are like with ChatGPT, if you have it on your website that says we are the best, right? Then they're using your website as one of the sources, right?
Yes.
You know, but then they'll also show that you're listed in Yelp and you've got so many 5-star reviews, and you're listed in Super Lawyers and all these other places. So it's no different. I mean, everybody's kind of pulling the data, right, from the greater web, right? And so SEO, whether you call it SEO or whatever term you want to give it.
Probably it's going to be like AI search optimization, like, right?
That's
like
really
instead of
it.
like search, it's now going to the AI, like ChatGPT or whatever this like AI is out there.
That's
right?
it.
Like
That's
you can do the
exactly
same
right.
thing, like whatever you did on for the Google search, now you're doing it for the AI.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you feed the proper content, it will rank you, like it will show you.
Yep. And so those that are actually getting ahead of the curve now, you're going to have a big advantage.
So you don't think that SEO specialists will lose their job within 3 years?
I don't think so. I mean, you might have to develop new
It will
skills.
be more advanced.
Yeah, like you might need to
skills,
develop
right?
like prompting skills,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
Advanced prompting skills. AI is just the tool, you know what I mean? You still need, the human that is actually kind of like that's controlling the tool,
Yeah. Yeah. As a white hat SEO guide, what do you think about black hat and gray hat SEO?
So I live in in the world of legal, right? So when I work with my clients, everything is all above board, all white hat. We don't push the needle at all.
Yeah.
And that's because I could potentially get my clients disbarred where they lose their law license, and so I don't ever want to be in a position like that, right?
Yeah.
However, if I was an affiliate marketer on the side, I can certainly push the needle. I mean, like, it's not illegal to be a gray hat SEO or a black hat SEO. It might be against the Google guidelines, right? But as an affiliate marketer, if you can figure out some type of exploit where like a lot of people were exploiting like major websites like Forbes, right? Or USA Today, where you basically pay money to basically publish an article in USA Today about the 50 best vacuum cleaners for 2025. And then you put your affiliate link there, and Google trusts that website very much. And now it's ranking when people type in best vacuum cleaners. Is that black hat? Potentially, right? But now you're making a lot of money. Until Google realizes, wait a second, people were exploiting the algorithm.
Or if you can move the high GR, like 90 GR within 1 week, right?
Exactly. Like I applaud that stuff. I'm like, that's savvy, and that's just scratching the surface. It can get really dark, and I love that stuff. I go to masterminds. I'm going to a mastermind in Manchester, with some really dark black hat people. And I just love learning like their whole world, because it's not really the world I live in, but I've got a lot of respect for those folks. Sardor and I were in a Vistage group together, so that you guys kind of understand the history. And in our Vistage group is, a lot of traditional businesses, people that run, manufacturing plants and stuff like that. And here's Sardor and I that are like in this whole world of like internet marketing. He and I spoke like a different language than the most. And Sardor is like as savvy as they come, and not so much like exploiting the Google algorithm, but man, he figures out ways to do things to get rankings that I've never seen in my life, man. And so hats off to Sardor.
At that time we had 10,000 domains, right? Like for each city and each keyword.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's
and it's legal to have it. Like it's not like illegal to have so many domains.
No,
you just pick
and you're master at delegating too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like your key as well. Like you figure out a process, and then you get 16, and then you go big. You have 50 people doing that one thing. You know what I mean? It's. I've got.
But the only thing is you have to always advance because people copy. So
that's
you have
right.
to always have whatever tools you did yesterday. We don't use them now.
No.
Like, we always like advancing. Whatever we're using now, probably other people are going to start using it in a few years. Like we have to always like come up with new ideas.
Yeah, there's the pioneers that develop the strategies, and then there's those that actually like just follow the strategies of those that have pioneered it.
Yeah. What do you think? Like if the company has $5,000 for the marketing budget, do you think they should spend on SEO or not?
It depends on like where you are, right? If you need to turn your lights on, like if this is just an extra $5,000 per month, right? That's a much different equation than if you have to feed your family on $5,000, right? So if you have to feed your family on $5,000 and you need to make your phone ring, I would probably say, start, you have to start with a website and you have to start publishing content. You probably can't take that $5,000 to hire an agency to do everything for you. You might have to start writing your content, right? You might have to start building your link. You might have to start taking like YouTube courses to learn about this stuff, which is not a bad thing, right? So I would bestly invest that in my education in something. And then I probably would use maybe some paid marketing as well to at least start driving some results so that you can sell widgets or get leads or whatever your business is. And then once you start making money, then you just figure out where should I, now I've got 7,000. Okay, great. I'm going to put more money in SEO. SEO is definitely one of those things that you're at least 8 months, 9 months away from like getting any leads if you're just starting with a brand new domain. Whereas, paid social and everything else is just quicker. Like that's the game, like Google, Facebook, they all want you to pay to play. You know what I mean?
I normally use a rule of 10.
Okay.
So the company can spend 10% of the revenue for marketing.
Okay.
And they can spend 10% of that marketing budget for the SEO.
That's good. Yeah.
And later when that market SEO traffic builds up, you can start moving that 90%, another 10, like 80-20, then 37, you like start moving the budget towards that SEO direction. That's what I would do.
I like that. I think that's a good formula.
Like in the beginning, I would not spend more than 10% of the marketing budget for SEO.
Now, was it always 10%? Like, because when SEO is really easy, I would say you probably would have allocated more money in the beginning,
If it was predictable, yes.
Yeah,
like,
see,
until
now it's
I
a little bit
find
tougher.
a predictable, yes.
Yeah.
If it's not like, if I don't have the benchmark or trend, how I can like clearly calculate and repeat the same thing, I won't.
Understood.
Like, until I crack the code.
I like that.
If it works.
I think that's a good strategy. You've heard it here. I mean, like, follow
Say
that.
it the same thing. If you want to raise capital, you don't want to take someone's more than 10% of their liquid capital.
So from that 5,000, you're taking 500.
Only 500.
Okay.
Yes. Like the rest of 4,500, let them actually like distribute like a
I think
paper
that makes
call,
sense.
Other like so they can keep the lights on and actually put that on as an investment in 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
That is going to start giving you like 5, 10, whatever the ROAS.
I like
then
that.
you start actually investing more.
Yeah.
To that.
I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Jess, let's talk about your company. I believe you were able to build virtual teams, virtual companies before it was even trendy. How you did that?
So it's interesting. So that was all by design. It's through trial and error, I would say. My old agency was not set up like that. I had a different agency that was in Atlanta, Georgia, and we had a nice office, on the 18th floor, right? Beautiful. But the problem was that I had to recruit from a 5-mile radius of that office. And so the talent pool wasn't as big as I would have liked. And in the world of digital marketing, right, you got to get a strong talent pool.
Yep.
And sometimes that talent pool is going to come from the Ukraine or Bulgaria or wherever else, right? And so when I set up my second agency, this is well before COVID, this was 2015, I'm like, I want my company to be virtual.
Yeah.
And so that was all by design. And so when COVID happened, business as usual.
Yeah. It didn't really affect, right? What was your like best hire and what was your worst hire?
Best hire is when you can start to replace yourself in the more higher tier functions of the business.
Yeah.
When you really actually make an investment and you bring somebody that's like highly capable. So I would say, when we started to bring in like my COO, my CFO, my VP of people success, those type of people were basically, I would say, my best people. Those are the people that were uncomfortable because they were not cheap, right?
Yeah,
But those are also the same people that will give you, a 10-time return on your investment. So it's a risky move.
But how do you determine like if you're ready for that kind of person, and how like when you are kind of growing entrepreneur, maybe you don't know how to read people yet, like you just know how to read the resume, but you don't know if they're going to deliver or not, because people might have a lot of experience or whatever.
Yeah.
But can you really read the candidates properly, or somebody helped you to actually hire that? Like, what was the process look like? Or did you just make some mistakes? Because I did a mistake. Like the first time when I hired VP, I was not ready myself. Not the VP was bad.
Sure.
I was not ready for the VP at that time.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So for me, the story goes like this. I was making a lot of money my first couple years of business. It was a lifestyle business, right? It wasn't really kind of like an enterprise business. And so, when you make a lot of money, you also pay a lot of taxes if you live in California, or, even just anywhere, I guess. And so at the end of the year, I had to write a large check to the government. And so don't get me wrong, like I pay my share of taxes. I know where it all kind of goes. But when you're kind of in hyper growth mode, I didn't want to spend so much of my time being pulled away from vacations and, and stuff to take calls. And so I said, why did I work so hard? I'd much rather take that money and reinvest it into really high capable people that will allow me to get more of my time back to do other things that I feel like I'm better at. And so it was the initiative of why I decided to hire, higher tier people. Now, the higher tier people are not just on LinkedIn. You know what I mean? Like, they're not, like, if you've got A players, they're not just openly available looking for work.
Correct.
Those are the people that you kind of have to go out and headhunt, right? Because they're probably gainfully employed somewhere else. And so when you're looking for, somebody that's very specific, that's going to do something, you have to reach out to your network, right? And so when we were looking for somebody that was like a higher up to help out with SEO strategy, where did I go within my own network? And I went to my friend that worked for Disney, and he ran SEO for Disney, and I was able to kind of pull him in to come work at Hennessey Digital, right? But he wasn't just on the market looking for a job.
Yeah, they're not really on market. You have to just headhunt them, and you have to have a better comp plan, basically, right? Like, and you have to kind of have a vision, probably, like, so they want to follow you instead of dropping like huge company and going smaller agency. Why they're going after, right? Like, they have to have a purpose and a reason.
Of course, yeah, because those people are. I always like to say this. I remember one time I was like, I thought I landed this perfect person that was gonna like take this role and be amazing at it. And then, after kind of going through everything and giving this person exactly what they were asking for, at the end of the day, he sent me a notice saying, thank you so much for the opportunity, but I decided to kind of go elsewhere. And so I remember like reaching out to my coach. I've got a business coach, and I was like, why do you think this happened? And he's like, I'm like, I gave this person everything that they wanted, right? And I thought it was like a done deal. And he's like, your talent pool just wasn't, your magnet. He said, your magnet just wasn't strong enough, right? There was another company that just had a stronger magnet. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, let's look at everything. Let's look at your benefits. Let's look at this. Let's look at the PTO time. And at the time, like, it wasn't, an attractive place to work when you looked at all of the benefits and everything. And I can see why the magnet of another company was stronger. And so over the next 5 years, like, I always thought of that. How can I make my magnet stronger so that people not only want to come, but once they're here, like a magnet, it's really hard to pull it off, right? And so that was just something that I looked at.
Interesting. Tell me about your like bad experience on the hire, like, and like why it was bad and what kind of lessons probably you learned from it.
So I think early on, I think a lot of entrepreneurs make this mistake. When you're just starting out, you get your first business card and you're the CEO of the company, right? You're the only employee of the company, right? But you are the CEO and you're the founder, right? And it feels real good when you kind of give out your card, right?
Yeah, I saw that Mark Zuckerberg's like,
yeah,
I'm the CEO.
See? Yeah. And so, and then you just like start recruiting people. And immediately, right, you're like, all right, I'm going to recruit this person. And like now you've got 3 employees, and then you have this person that your chief marketing officer, right? I'm the CEO, you're the chief marketing officer. And you are the chief technology officer, right? Meanwhile, these people are like fresh out of college. They've never been a chief marketing officer, right? They're not capable, kind of,
So you already gave out the titles to them, right?
Yeah, so now you're already like, and so like, it's great if you're just going to remain a 3-person company forever, right? But if you have, goals and ambitions of kind of really building a business, when you start growing, you're going to need a real chief marketing officer, right? And the chief marketing officer of a $1 million company is a lot different of a chief marketing officer of a $50 million company, right? And so when you start just kind of giving away those titles early, I think that's a big mistake. And I'm sure there's people that might be watching this episode that have done that, right? And you're going to have to roll that back at some point. And it's very uncomfortable to do that. And so I remember one time I brought in somebody, and she was hired almost like a personal assistant, I guess, if
Yeah.
you will. But I gave her a chief of staff title,
Okay.
right? And so, because, the president of the United States has a chief of staff, and that's just a glorified way of saying personal assistant. But, then we started hiring people, and she took it upon herself that she thought she was the chief of all the staff, you know what I mean? And so, like, that just was awkward and it was weird, and I had to kind of dial that back down, So anyway, I think titles are important. I've definitely have made my mistakes with just kind of giving out titles like that.
Yeah, once actually, when I had my personal assistant who was doing the role of CMO as well at the same time, and I gave a percentage of the top line revenue. And when I start hiring more people under her, my pie started getting less.
Sure.
And when I tried to get away, then we got the fight. Like I lost two people at the same time.
Oh my God.
My personal assistant and the CMO, because it was not correct structure.
Way to structure
the structure of it, right? Like it was impossible to negotiate. But after that, I no longer put like really like infinite structures anymore. We have a quarterly review. Like always, company has a right review the structure. But never we're gonna go back and change the backwards. We can be able to tell you upfront what is going to happen in the future.
Of course, yeah. You live and you learn. I mean, like you just kind of. We've had to do that too. Like we hold the right to make adjustments as necessary. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
So,
What about the processes? Like on your highest, like when you had a lot of employees, what was the number count-wise?
We're probably like about 130 full-time employees now. Yeah.
Like how do you manage that so many people? Like do you use kind of some tools? Like how do you know that employees are not just watching YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, whatever? They're not actually working, they're just tracking time.
It really comes down to accountability and actually performance, right? I'd say you give people duties, you give people tasks, right? And if they actually accomplish, the tasks, then you certainly don't have to micromanage people. I consider myself not the best manager. I'm more of like a visionary, high start kind of person. And so I am good at delegating, probably like you. And so I only have 2 direct reports, me personally. So my 2 direct reports is my personal assistant and then my COO and president, right? The same person. So those are the only 2 people that report to me. Everything up kind of rolls up to them. In fact, my assistant has 3 people that report to her, right? Like she has 3 assistants, I guess, if you will. And so, I just know that that's not my strength. And so, the architecture of the business or the org chart is set up where there's top-level management, mid-level management, managers, and then, everybody else that kind of reports up. And so we use tools like Slack. We use Asana.
As a project management tool, you use Asana.
Yeah, we use that. And so we have point systems. Like they developed a way so that, we do like our weekly meetings and everybody says, all right, I'm going to accomplish so many points this week. And so, and there's a way to kind of track it, but it's not always perfect. Like, just yesterday, I'll be vulnerable here. Just yesterday, there was a call that was happening. It was like a call where like somebody was going to talk to our company about like health. I lost a lot of weight, and so that's a big part of our culture. And so they were kind of giving this little presentation about health and wellness. And so one of our team members that was only been with us for maybe about 6 months, forgot to mute himself. And he was sitting on this call and he was basically speaking about a project that had nothing to do with Hennessey Digital. Turns out that this guy had a second job, you know what I mean? And so, my senior director or senior VP of people success is like, and it's interesting because they couldn't get him to mute himself, right? And now it's like interrupting everything. And so they just kind of terminated him right away. This just happened yesterday, right? So like, even with the perfect systems, sometimes you have things that kind of slip through the cracks,
Yeah, recently was reading a Reddit and someone was like saying like, I quit 6 months ago, but I was keep getting checks, nobody noticed.
Yeah.
And other people on Reddit is saying like, I do the same thing, but they not really understand by doing that you actually stop growing in the company. Like,
of course you do.
What is the purpose of actually being like just lying for the company and just trying to take the checks from different places?
I don't know, man. It's a whole new world. That's not how we grew up. You know what I mean? Like I want to advance. I want to kind of accelerate. Yeah, I don't want to just. I think they call that silent quitting.
Silent quitting, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the best way of growth is growing is taking more responsibility, ownership, right? Like by doing that, you can actually kind of be respectful, trusted.
Yeah.
And that's how actually you get higher position, higher pay.
That's how, I mean, my CTO became CTO. Like, didn't start at the CTO. Like, he just earned the respect. You know, he just took the responsibility upon himself to be a leader, right? And that's the stuff that kind of surfaces, right?
Yeah. Do you guys like have a lot of processes, like SOPs, probably like for every single job, right? Like how long it takes to onboard people?
Yeah, we do. So the onboarding process, you know, I would say it's probably like a full, you know, it's probably like 2 weeks, like really like getting really familiarized with the curriculum and doing this and the sexual training orientation and all the stuff that you kind of have to do sometimes by law. So there's a lot of that. And then, you know, getting...
But when there's virtual...
It's all virtual.
But I mean, it's still like sexual harassment is still there.
It's a mandatory thing. Like, you know, like you have to do it, right? And so there's like a video that hasn't changed in 7 years that you have to watch and you can't like skip through it, right? And so there is, you know, there is that, and you know, but our team, you know, does a really good job. We actually have somebody that is in our learning and development. So we have somebody that actually builds out the curriculum and works with our team members, so that there's courses that they can take and tests that they can take. And so we definitely made a big investment into learning and development for sure.
What percentage of your people are US and what percentage overseas?
That's a good question. I'd like to say that we're probably like 65% US and
65?
the remaining overseas, you know, all over the world, literally. Yeah.
And what would be your like revenue per employee is like what, 160,000 a year?
You are perfect. Like, you know, that's about $156,000 is what that number is. And it's something that we obviously look at, you know, more so my finance team than me. Yeah.
Probably because of the global team, right? Like because of virtual, maybe it's a little bit less efficient, but because of global, you get efficiency. Of that, so it kind of evens
you totally
out.
do.
Correct. Yeah. Because normally you cannot really compare the SaaS companies when you can actually do the same amount of revenue with 20 people or like in the US, but it's completely different. Yeah,
it was really interesting. So I just got back. I did an executive MBA over at Stanford, and so I was in Palo Alto last week.
How do you like that? How it work?
So awesome. You know what I mean? Like I go to college not because like I have to go to college or I'm going to get an advancement or a bonus. You know what I mean? Like when you're an entrepreneur, I think we just like love knowledge. And so it's great to kind of be surrounded by, you know, an international group. I was the only one in my study group from the United States, and, you know, in rooms with professors that like have taught, you know, the founders of DoorDash and, you know, Google and, you know, OpenAI. I mean, literally, like these people were in some of these classrooms taught by the same professors. And so it was awesome. But you know, everything there is like, you know, talking about like the whole world of AI and, you know, and how that's all kind of changing. So it was great.
That's cool. I heard Harvard has OPM, I think. Right?
They do. Yeah, I want to do that.
President.
Yes. Yeah. You get alumni status. You have to go for 3 years in a row, and you spend 3 weeks on campus living in the dorm. So it's a commitment, but definitely I hear so many great things.
Yeah, a few from my friends went there, and they were telling really good stories about it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. We as entrepreneurs, we never stop learning, right? We always.
No, I mean, you love it, and you just want to kind of grow. And you know, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to go to a different room. And sometimes, you know, you got to go to these universities to get taught by some people that are smarter than you. You know, so.
You said you have only 2 direct reports: your COO and your personal or business assistant, right?
You know, there is a couple leaders
basically
from the
that's
team.
change meeting, right? Then.
I guess that would probably be a different name for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you discuss that about not the KPIs, not scorecards, not run, just discuss about ideas, how you can improve and get better.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's an hour and a half, 90 minutes?
We do that, a 90-minute call once a week. Yeah.
Once a week, and how many people is there?
There's probably like 7 or 8 people on that call.
What functions and roles?
So our CTO, our president, our director of our outbound, like link building. We have one of our BPs of SEO who's doing a lot of like testing with AI. Our senior director of content. So basically most of the leaders of the respective departments that all kind of funnel up in terms of developing in the overall strategy that we deploy for our clients.
Got it. And who runs that meeting?
Our CTO, Blinn.
Can you tell me 3 AI tools, what is working currently for SEO?
Okay. One of the things that we are doing now is we're just using OpenAI, ChatGPT to take websites and translate them into multiple languages. So that's something that's working very well. You have a website that might have 2,000 pages of content, and we're just kind of automatically kind of like translating it into multiple languages and building the architecture. And so all the same links in the English strategy are all kind of getting applied, and it's using the same anchor text in just multiple languages. So you might have a website that's not getting any traffic at all in Spanish, and then you build that .es subfolder, and now you've got 2,000 pages in Spanish, and now you're basically starting to get more
so you're
traffic.
basically doing SEO for a different language as well. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that one is a golden nugget. I think, if you've got a big website, that's something that you can think about. What else? My team is using it more to develop content strategies as well. Looking at gaps and putting in different competitors, and now we're actually writing a lot of content. So we're looking at like stores where people might get injured, and so when you work with lawyers, everybody's trying to go after Los Angeles personal injury lawyer, Los Angeles car accident lawyer, but there's also, did you get injured at Home Depot in Los Angeles? Did you get injured at Trader Joe's in Los Angeles, right? There's a lot of
long tail keywords.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity where we're leveraging AI to not only help write the content for that, but to develop the strategy as well. So I'd say that one is something that's very effective. That's the stuff that is there's no search volume for that, so it's never going to show up in any keyword research tool. And there's not a lot of competition for that, right? So if you just write a page that satisfies the intent of that, you'd be surprised at how often the phone will ring, for some of our clients for stuff like that. So that's definitely something that I really don't ever talk about, because I don't like to kind of reveal my strategies. But that's, I think, a good one. And then there's so many other tools that we use. Like we use a tool called phrase.io, and that's basically a tool that will look at the top 3 websites that are already ranking for a term, and it'll tell you, you've got 4,000 pages, words, the average is 1,700, and, and we want you to put this keyword in a little bit more, and you kind of improve the score a little bit. So that's a tool that's been around a while, but now they're getting a little bit more advanced with AI, and so that's something that's also working very well in the world of SEO.
What about what tools? Probably you don't use them yourself. Probably your team does it. Like what tools you would recommend?
So we use Grok, we use ChatGPT, all of the usual stuff. There's another one I can't remember the name of. It starts with an M, Mantis, I think. Are you familiar with that one? I think might be Mantis. But a lot of the innovation is really happening from one of our team members that really kind of owns the whole world of AI in our company.
What about SEO tools? Like let's say Ahrefs versus SEMrush or other tools. Which one do you prefer the most?
So for years and years and years, I was a fan of SEMrush. I thought they had the best tool set, and they're still amazing. But then they went public. And when you go public, right, they need to make money, and so the prices went up for that. And then I felt that the innovation wasn't as strong as it used to be, because there's a lot of regulation and bureaucracy and red tape you got to go through, and you want to feature. You have a team of lawyers that looks at everything. Whereas Ahrefs is still a private company, and they are very innovative, and they'll come out with a new function on their website like every week. And I'm friends with the chief marketing officer there, and so if there's even things that I have ideas, like I've got a voice to maybe to bring that to the table. And so nowadays I'm actually a bigger fan of Ahrefs, actually.
Okay, got it. Let's say if business owner wants to hire an SEO agency.
Yep.
How to interview them, what things to look up, pay attention when you're hiring an SEO agency. So, because a lot of people think like SEO agencies, they would promise you fairy tales, but they don't deliver. Like how you can actually find out from the beginning during the interview that actually you're not going to burn a lot of cash and plus time, and you're going to be back to zero in whatever the period of time. Like,
yeah, that's a good question. I would definitely start off by educating yourself. You don't have to be an expert in the world of SEO. In fact, I wrote a book. It's called Honest SEO here. You can get a copy of this book. It's like $20 on Amazon. I'm not looking to get rich from selling books. The reason why I wrote the book was to educate and empower people to make the best decisions.
Whoever is going to be writing a lot of comment, we're going to choose. We're going to send this book to you guys.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely, right?
It's the best life hack actually. For like, how much that book cost?
$20 on Amazon.
So look, for $20, you can actually buy the book, pick his brain, actually know whatever he knows, actually like then start investing like thousands of dollars in SEO before. Why not to just read it? How long is it going to take to read the book?
Couple hours. You might maybe from a plane ride from Los Angeles to New York.
Do you have an audible version on
there? Is, yeah, there is. Yeah.
You just listen to it, right? Like, yeah. So like, how long? Like 2 hours probably, or 3 hours?
Something like
to
that.
Listen? Yeah. Like before to invest in search engine optimization and SEO and budget, like listen to the book or read the book, then actually look for the agency and make sure that the agency actually already does SEO for that trade, for that industry.
Yes. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be harder to actually get results. And then talk to basically the clients of that SEO agency to and see the results like what they did.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's one of the secrets. Because if you don't do that and you go in this like not knowing, you're going to get taken advantage of. Like there's a lot of bad actors in this space. And it's unfortunate. They're going to take your money. It's going to sound very affordable. It's like, all right, $1,500 a month, great. And then you find yourself like, 12 months later, and you're like, what the heck? But and they're like, oh, it's there was a Google algorithm update, and like there's always an excuse, know. So educate yourself.
Educate yourself.
That book is written for like a layman that is not looking to be an advanced SEO expert. It's really written to know who to hire and how to hold them accountable to make sure that people don't, get taken advantage of, because it's very easy to get taken advantage of. So start off by educating yourself. And then once you're educated, then do your research. If you are a plastic surgeon, maybe find an agency that has a bunch of plastic surgeon clients and has gotten amazing results, and talk to some of their clients and just truly, make sure that it's going to be a right fit. And when you're interviewing them, like you're probably going to talk to the owner of the agency, but I imagine that the owner of the agency isn't the person that's going to be managing your campaign. Maybe ask, can you speak to the account manager that you'll be working with to understand their level of knowledge, right? Just start asking the right questions and find the right agency that fits. And just make sure you got a realistic budget. We get clients all the time that reach out to us and they've got a $5,000 budget, but they want to be #1 for Los Angeles personal injury lawyer, right? Unfortunately, I'm not a magician. Like, you're competing with big budgets, and $5,000 isn't going to stretch very far.
What kind of budget you need for that kind of?
In Los Angeles, you're probably like, north of 20 grand a month, 50. We've had a client that, you know, was
Do you
more
have
than
the
100.
clients who ask you like to give you exclusivity on the region or not?
We used to have that, and then we stopped giving exclusivity for two reasons. One is I am not Google, and so I don't control where Google is going to place content.
Yeah.
I might be working with a lawyer in Atlanta, and I might be working with a lawyer in Los Angeles, and I might write a question on the Atlanta website that says, what should you do if you're in a car accident? And that might rank nationally, right? And now I've got one of my clients. So I'm already in breach before I start, so I don't like that. And then the second thing is, if my lawyer in Los Angeles wants to open up an office in Atlanta, right? If I've got exclusivity with this person, then, you know, now I'm like, I can only work on your Los Angeles stuff. I can't work, right? And so we don't do that. Oftentimes, if clients want to work with us and they don't want us to work with some of their competitors, we'll put together an exhibit list where, you know, for the right amount of money, like you can actually include 3 law firms or competitors that you don't want us to work with, and then we'll basically agree to that. So that's one of the things that we do.
Jason, tell me about the time when you start thinking or you are ready to sell the company, like why and what, how that feeling came in on your decision.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, especially in home services, they think they build their companies like they're going to live it for their kids, right? Like a family business, like lifetime business. Like when it actually came to your mind or make that decision or feeling that you decided to actually sell the company?
Yeah. So so when you sell a company, it's definitely a strategy, right? It doesn't just kind of happen. And so for us, you know, we've been kind of like, it started out as a lifestyle business, right? And then from there you hire people and you end up kind of building something. You start replacing yourself in all regards of the business, and then the business starts growing without you. And usually when you're in that period of you're in the growth mode, your margins are kind of going down because you're hiring a lot of people to kind of grow. And so for years and years and years, you know, we were at like, you know, very low margins, like 9% margin, uncomfortable margins, you know, but I just knew that we were doing it to grow. And then last year, which was 2024, we were focused on, let's just grow our profitability in 2024. So maybe we don't go to so many conferences, maybe we don't spend so much money on marketing, right? Just to kind of get your EBITDA up. And we were going to do that over the course of 3 years. And then in 2027, then we were going to look at potentially maybe exiting, right? So it was definitely like a 3-year journey. During that process, you're supposed to start to take meetings so that you start building relationships with private equity folks and stuff like that. You know, and I would say probably like maybe a year or a year and a half out, if you're really serious, you might want to engage an investment banker who's going to help you, you know, bring different parties to the table to potentially like bid on you, right? But for us, it kind of came early. We started to take some calls. A couple were not the right fits. We didn't hire an investment banker. Somebody introduced us to the private equity group that we actually are partnered with now. And we really liked the conversation. We liked the thesis that they were building. We were bought into them as a team. We were bought into their vision. And so the conversation started to get more serious. And then we actually, you know, exited after that 1 year instead of the 3 years.
Instead of waiting 3 years, got it.
Because financially it kind of made more sense to do that. It had to be a perfect fit. Like I had to hit that trifecta. It had to be good for my clients, had to be good for my staff, and then selfishly, third, it had to be good for me too, and my family. And so this particular deal, you know, checked all 3 of those boxes. I am on the board of this new holding company, I guess, if you will. And I'm still the CEO of the company, and now I just have a lot more capital behind me to bring some of my ideas to life. And so I think my clients are going to benefit from this.
That's cool. What is the strategy behind the private equity firm? They're actually doing the only SEO firms or marketing agencies, or it's a holding who does like managed service? I don't know, like what is the strategy behind the private equity?
Yeah, so this is a private equity group that has like $2 billion under management with different portfolios. So for this specific thesis or portfolio, they wanted to go out and find like the best in class for very niche agencies or industries, I should say. And so they found an agency that's in dental that's kind of like a counterpart of Hennessey Digital. It's called TNT Dental. And so they acquired them. That was the first agency that they brought on. They've got all these relationships with thousands of dentists. Then they found us, again, another best in class in the legal vertical. And so now we're looking into home services. We're looking into medical, like plastic surgeons and stuff. And so we'll be kind of growing by way of acquisition.
Got it.
But then we're also then bolting on other services that, we can, sell to that clientele. So maybe we buy a media agency that does more of the TV advertising in legal. Maybe we buy a call center that has a bunch of relationships. Maybe we buy a couple other agencies that we can upsell or downsell to, right? So that's kind of the thesis of what we're building with Herringbone Digital. That's the parent company that owns Hennessey Digital now, and I'm a large shareholder in Herringbone Digital.
And basically they are looking to buy what kind of revenue and EBITDA sizes at the moment? Like
I'd say
probably they're looking for platform and tuck in, right?
Correct. Yeah, I'd say like sweet spot is like 5 to 7 million EBITDA.
But that's a platform.
Yeah. But we're looking at smaller deals if we can find it. The goal, we've got audacious goals. We want to try to get 200 million in EBITDA in the pipeline before the end of the year. And so we brought in an amazing merger and acquisition team, and they're staying very busy. So they're very aggressive.
Got it. So basically, the sizes you are looking for, an agency-wise, 5 to 10. You said, or 5 to 6.
5 to 7, let's just say. That's kind of like the sweet spot.
Right, yeah. Multiplier probably is going to be right around 10-ish.
It depends. It kind of...
it can be like, depending on the market, it can be like what the company does, right?
It could be 3 times, it could be 10 times. It's somewhere in that range, just depending on, on how profitable the company is, whether or not the founders, this particular thesis, they really like to kind of keep the founders on, and then they roll over some of the equity so that, because they're not looking to kind of replace the management team. Like they just want to buy successful businesses that can kind of continue to run and grow.
So basically they want to keep the founder on like 10, 20%, 20% probably, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly, right. Like normally private equity companies are doing that on home service as well.
Yeah.
They basically buy at 80% and let you roll in 20% to the holding company.
Yeah, that's kind of like how most private equity deals work. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. If you have an agency doing $5 to $7 million EBITDA, and you would love to join the group and holding company, write in the comment or you can send a message to Jason. We're gonna be leaving his contact information in the YouTube link itself, so you can reach out directly or leave your comment. We're gonna reach out to you. Even if it's smaller company, right? It can be tuck in. So let us know.
Exactly.
When you get the number you want,
and
the offer was expected mutually from both sides. Like, how did you feel?
It's certainly a great feeling. When you start to build a business, and it's like buying a home. You know what I mean? Like, you buy a house and you sit on it and you're building equity, right? And the only time you ever cash out on the equity is when you sell your home, right? And that's the very same thing with a business. You're building it for 10 years. I've been building it, just kind of sitting on the equity, and eventually you kind of cash it out. So it's a great feeling. It's definitely something that I've worked very hard for. You create, generational wealth, making sure that, my family's obviously taken care of. But truthfully, like when I woke up that next morning, I was ready to get back to work, and that's a feeling that shows that I wasn't necessarily doing it for the money, right? I'm doing it for the pure love of this is something that kind of gives me energy. And so I was right back into business, and and then at the end of the day, my wife's like, "Hey, I need you to go to Costco to get toilet paper." Same thing. It doesn't matter, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm driving to Costco, so my life doesn't necessarily change much. I'm a jeans guy with a t-shirt. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Now I'm excited for the next chapter. I've always built my business on that bootstrap mentality. And so now I'm playing a different game where there's like big capital behind me to make bigger and bolder moves. It's going to be an exciting journey. I'm still young. I'm only 47 at the date of this recording. And, I don't know. I'm just excited for the next chapter.
Yeah. Probably it's kind of getting like confirmation of that checkbox. Like you did it, right? Like it doesn't last long, but kind of getting that confirmation, because when we are building a company, we doubt, right? We have a lot of doubts with maybe surrounding some other people, like doubt, like if you're going to be able to do it or not. Because as I said, only 17,000 people or companies make to that size from 28 million companies in US.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a testament
the chance of probability is really low. If you just divided 28 million by 17,000, what is that?
It's like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, right? I mean, yeah, it's definitely that, and I a lot of that is like driven from not having much as a kid. You know what I mean? That's where I get all my drive from, like growing up, I didn't have a car, my mom cleaned houses to make a living, you know what I mean? And so like, I always knew that money was my motivator, right? Growing up, that was like it, and so
and I believe you, at school you were selling chewing gums?
Oh yeah. I was, because like most, I didn't come from a very, rich neighborhood. And so a lot of kids were hustlers, where I grew up. And so my hustle was, getting blow pops from Costco and selling them for 25 cents each, and, getting enough money to kind of buy a video game that I wanted, right? So I didn't have to burden my mom. I joined the Air Force out of high school.
You said, yeah.
Because I didn't want to burden my mom to have to worry about paying for college. If I wanted to accelerate in life, like I'm very independent. Like I take all the responsibility and I put it on myself. And so I've always been that way. And so, you always want that financial goal, right? And, eventually you hit it, and so, I hit that. And so now it's just more of, it's not the financial goal anymore. Now I just want to build something big. And I really want to change the world. I want to change my industry. I want to innovate. I want to bring some of my ideas to life. I mean, like, I'm super excited about like what I'm going to be building. Yeah.
But during the process of building, did you have any doubts? Like when you wake up in the morning, are you doing it correctly or not? Should you take more money instead of hiring more people? Like,
yeah, no, there's two schools of thought there, I would say. I could have been taking out a lot more money out of my business as I was building it, but I don't,
like investing in real estate or
whatever, you know what I mean? Like you could have been doing that, but then you're not really building an asset that you could eventually like exit with. And so like I just knew that I had a comfortable amount of money that I can actually take as a distribution and live off of, and family can live off of. Reinvest most of it into building out the bigger asset, so that hopefully at some point, you get to a place where you can actually look at exiting. And so that was always my mentality. Like, was it the perfect formula? Probably not. I think I learned, from, past companies that I've, built and either liquidated or sold to partners, never like life-changing kind of money or anything, but like I've learned a lot over the years, and you really earn your stripes in terms of gray hair.
Tell me about your most expensive screw up you did in your company, and how much it cost you and how long it took you to notice.
I think, prior to this agency, I would say it was me tinkering around with pay-per-click myself, thinking like I kind of could do that when I was more of an SEO student. And so I probably wasted, I don't know, tens and thousands of dollars, just kind of like thinking I could actually like do my own PPC. Whereas that's like a unique skill set, where there's people that are way smarter than I am at that. And so, you hire the professionals and they actually make it work. So I probably wasted a lot of money on just kind of paid marketing, thinking I could probably do it myself. Now, I'm sure I could have if I really would have studied it more, but I was so laser focused on SEO that I probably wasted a lot of money that way.
Got it. Got it. So got it. And how much money? Oh, you said just tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands. Yeah, I don't think I've made $1 million mistake. We live and we learn. I'm always, I'm a big risk taker. When you don't really come from much, you're bold with some of the risks that you take, but it's all collective. It's I kind of understand the ROI and the risk there, and I try to balance it out when I make my decisions. And I've definitely made my share of mistakes, but I always knew that even if I failed miserably, I know what it takes to build it back up again, and I think that's kind of made me a stronger entrepreneur.
What was the decision was almost right, but almost killed the business?
So we had a technical SEO person that was like a genius, super smart, and he worked for the agency for, I don't know, call it a couple years. But he wasn't necessarily a cultural fit within the organization. Was a different type of a leader that, some other people might not have had respect for. But the guy was so brilliant that it was hard to separate from him. And so we operated like that for a couple years. And I think that kind of made the culture a little bit toxic.
Yeah.
And so, so I would say, you call that the brilliant jerk, right? Where, sometimes it makes more sense of kind of cutting ties with that. You don't know that when you hire them, but eventually you learn about that. So I'd say that was probably don't get me wrong, we got amazing results because he was doing it, but he just wasn't a cultural fit. And so we probably should have parted ways with that individual sooner.
Yeah, I think I know the guy, because you introduced me.
Probably,
and
right.
You introduced me. You even referred me to work with him.
That's
that
right.
time, but
yeah,
it didn't work out.
Yeah.
It didn't work out because his IQ, as you said, he was smart, but EQ,
That's right.
didn't work out this way. Right?
That's right. Yeah, we're talking about the same person.
Yeah. It was actually I had a similar situation. Every time I choose the IQ or expertise over culture, it doesn't work out.
No.
It doesn't work out. It's because building a company is not about a person, it's about the team, right?
It's
about culture. It has to work out. Yeah.
It's the same with fruit, you know what I mean? You get a bunch of fruit in a bowl and there's one apple that's bad. You look around, all the apples start getting bad, right?
Probably that person would be okay in different culture. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. What is the point of actually torturing them in this culture when it's not fit?
They can accelerate somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And I always wish the best on everybody, you know what I mean? I just for whatever reason, it just didn't work out here. I just hope the best for everybody. Yeah.
And also I used to not having those tough conversations. Now I kind of do that.
Sure, earlier.
Earlier,
right?
yeah, earlier.
Because you live and you learn, right?
Correct, yeah. Because if you don't, you keep thinking and trying to secure that expertise and you don't have those tough conversations, you're actually stopping the person's growth as well.
From accelerating in their own career.
Correct, yeah.
Right? Because they might not be happy in their place that they're working too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
Many says agency business doesn't scale, and you have proven it's wrong. What was your secret sauce? What was your secret?
It is hard, right? I always like to say in my business, SEO is the easy part. Whereas a lot of people think SEO is the hard part, scaling SEO is the hard part, right? And I think part of the reason why, some will say that it's not scalable is you're either a control freak, right? You need to kind of be doing everything, or you don't build the right curriculum. And so for us, it was very easy to scale because we're in a very specific niche. Like we work with lawyers, right?
Do you think, could you do the same thing if it was a different niche?
I think if it was a different niche, we could probably do the same thing. But if it was 6 different niches,
Yeah.
I don't think I would have gotten to the place of
Do you believe in
getting
going niche, or you believe in going broad?
niche.
Niche.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because trying to build that's why I think agencies can't scale, is because a lot of times agencies will just say yes to anybody that will pay them money. So it's like, oh, you're a
But you
plastic
cannot show
surgeon.
results.
That's what I'm saying. You're a plastic surgeon. Okay, great. We'll do it. You know. Oh wait, you sell like parts for a machine that goes in like dental like equipment. Sure, we'll take you on, right? Like, good luck trying to get like somebody to do keyword research for like a law firm, and next you know you're like looking at research for like a very specific piece of equipment that goes in a dental machine. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 2 different worlds, and it's not as easy to scale that.
Even my internal SEO team, I have an internal SEO team, been working for 10 years with me, right? They can do one vertical.
That's it.
Like, if they do appliance, but if you move them to electrical, plumbing, even the home service, they fail.
It's so different.
It's so different.
So what does that tell you about agencies that try to do everything?
Yeah,
That's why people say that agencies can't scale. And it's partially true.
Correct.
Niching down is so
because
important.
the strategy, keyword, like there are a lot of niching down is really important. I agree with you.
And the other thing too is like, because we're just like entrenched in one vertical, well, guess what? You know, we start going to those conferences, we start meeting people, we start having partners that refer us business. Next thing you know, like I'm being asked to speak at those conferences. I'm writing books on that. You know what I mean? Like you're starting to build a personal brand, you know, in one market, where it's really hard to do that if it's like segmented into 15 different markets, you know?
Tell me about 3 decisions without which this deal will not happen with this private equity company.
For one, having an amazing CFO.
Okay.
Because
so without CFO, this deal will not happen, right?
No.
Yeah.
Just because like our books would have been really sloppy. We would have never had targets. We would have never, like I'm the person that just like spend money, we'll make more. Spend money, we'll make more. So like actually having budgets.
But I think once I remember your screenshot on Facebook that you had a target 90-day whatever quarter, and you almost like hit it with like pinpoint to that target and budget.
We do. So we're very precise. So we come up with forecasts, and that's all on her, right? And so we know exactly where we need to be and where we're going, and realistic, and building out like 12-month and 24-month forecasts. And so if we didn't have that level of accountability at the top in the CFO role, you know, a lot of times when you do deals with private equity, like the first thing that they do is quality of earnings, right? They want to like look at your books and make sure that it actually aligns with what you said it is. And so the number that they gave us never changed, right? A lot of times that kind of goes down, down, down because the quality of earnings aren't there. So, and we never had quality of earnings audits or anything like that. So like, she's just, like I said, I put Michelle as like CFO level to be running Facebook or Google. I mean, she's just great. And so I'm very blessed. So I'd say that was definitely one decision. I already talked about some of my other team members as well, but CFO was very important. Let's see here. Investing in technology, that's another decision that we made. We didn't have to reinvest a lot of money into building out like our own dashboard and our own platform and creating efficiencies with the way in which we do business, but we really built out an engineering team that, you know, that really made the lives of our team members, you know, more efficient, but also providing transparency to our clients. I think that was a big investment that we made that kind of helped us get here. And then the third one would definitely be building out my personal brand. I think that was key. Having high integrity, never screwing any clients over, keeping a really great reputation in the market. You know, that was a big piece of you know, being able to kind of get where we are.
What is the most expensive marketing mistake everyone makes?
I would say 2 things. I would say Not having the proper data to show you what the return on investment is from your marketing. I think all too often people just continue to invest in marketing and not realize like what's working.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to make sure that you actually are tracking things the right way so that you know what's working, what's not, where you should reallocate more budget, where you should take away budget. I just think people just throw money out and it makes the phone ring and that's that. And I think the other mistake that a lot of people make is not actually answering the phone or not getting back to some of the leads as quickly as possible. And I feel people are just kind of leaving a lot of money on the table because they don't have the proper call center or things like that. So I think those are probably the two biggest mistakes that I see a lot of businesses make.
Yeah. Do you think AI call center is going to help a little bit on that? Answering services, maybe?
I think in home services, I think that's a good solution, right? Where you call up and it's like an AI that says, "Hi, welcome," and they sound almost like a human and it walks them through. In legal, I have a different stance, only because like in legal personal injury, like usually if somebody's calling a personal injury lawyer, it's not a good moment in their life. Maybe they lost a loved one, as a result of a car accident or, a wrongful death claim. And so this is probably the darkest moment in somebody's life. Most human beings probably might only call a personal injury lawyer maybe once in their lifetime, twice maybe.
Yeah.
And so the last thing that you want is, somebody in their darkest, most vulnerable moment to pick up the phone and call a personal injury lawyer and then be dealt a robot.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think in personal injury or legal, you should have a human being that has more empathy, more compassion, answering that phone call and being a good representative of your business.
I think the same for the home service as well.
Good. Okay. I'm happy to hear you say that.
Yeah, because whenever the emergent situations, like you don't want to call 911 and instead of human, you have a robot, right? Like same thing. People want to actually feel like they've been taken care of. They want to have assurance. You can put them on support system, like in the bank, I don't know, something else, but not in the home services. Like people will hang up. Or call somebody else.
Or kind of do a combination of both, right? Where maybe the initial person is like, okay, great, it sounds like we can help you. I'm very sorry to hear about, boom, 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 let's sign your case up. Perfect, boom. By the way, in about 20 minutes, you're going to get a call from our automated system that's going to ask you a series of questions. Please go through that, right? So maybe you're kind of doing a combination of both.
Right. Or you can put maybe after hours, right? Like for that. Instead of voicemail, probably that would be the doing thing.
Sure.
I agree. Yeah. On the marketing, what do you calculate? You calculate ROAS, ROI, or spend to revenue ratio? Like, what is the main top metrics you would think? What percentage of people or business owners calculate that or know that?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the legal world where I work with personal injury lawyers, the biggest thing in the world of personal injury is the average cost per signed case, right? That's kind of like what we're aiming for. So when somebody calls a personal injury lawyer, you are paying a cost per click, right? You're paying a cost per lead, and then you're paying for a cost per signed case, right?
Correct.
So that's kind of the goal.
What is it approximately cost per case?
Yeah, it's different in different cities. So like Los Angeles, I mean, if you can get a signed case for like $3,500, that's pretty good. In maybe Wyoming, maybe under 2,000 is good, right? So it just kind of depends on that particular market. Yeah.
How many leads converts to signed case?
20%.
20% closing ratio?
Something like that. Yeah.
So then basically $700 per lead in LA.
Yep.
And what is the cost per click or call?
Cost per click, cost per call. Could be under $200, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably cost per call is every 2 calls maybe converts kind of a lead.
Yep.
And the clicks, it's really expensive.
No, it's very expensive, but there's high margin there.
Yeah, high margin.
And the average fee in the legal per signed case, call it $12,000 to $15,000 is what they make on that. And that's not all profit, you know what I mean? You know, but then you get, you know, every 2% of the cases come in could be $1 million, right? Yeah. So those are the big ones that kind of come in.
What is the one underused SEO techniques that can immediately improve the website metrics?
This one's easy. You know, I think the internal linking. All too often, people will just hire somebody to write a lot of content on their website, and there's no strategy at all. And so when people write content and they publish it, they just randomly like pick keywords and link to different things internally on the website. You're creating like a mess because the internal links are really what's telling Google what you should be ranking these pages for, right? Yeah. And so if you've got one link on one page that says personal injury lawyer that's going to this page, and then you got another link on another page that says personal injury lawyer that's going to some FAQ, right? You're really cannibalizing your whole website. So that's one of the first things that we do when we come in and we try to clean up a website is we look at all the internal links and we fix that. It's the same thing as like if you look at Wikipedia, I think Wikipedia is like best practice SEO. You know, if you click baseball on any page on Wikipedia, it's going to take you to the baseball page, right? You know what I mean? You're not going to go click baseball and it's going to take you to the infielder page. It's going to take you to the baseball page. When you get to that page, it's going to take you to a link that says infielder, outfielder, catcher, pitcher, right? And there's pages for all of that. So when you're building out your website, you want to kind of follow that same protocol that like a Wikipedia would follow.
What about external links?
External links are just as important as well. You want to make sure that you are citing some of your sources. Same thing, if you look at Wikipedia, right? You know, there's an article about baseball, and when you go down, there's all the different sources that it's referencing, right? And so those are trust signals to Google, right? And so you want to be citing
I think one of the life hacks I just saw when I was looking at your LinkedIn, and I saw your Stanford certificate. And that's a backlink going to the Stanford, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Like we are basically generating backlinks for that.
But that's proof that actually I did it, right? You know, otherwise anybody can say that they did it, right? But it's actually has that
association. Stanford website is actually gaining weight out of that backlink.
It's so smart.
It's so smart.
Whoever's doing SEO at Stanford, I don't even know if they know what they're doing, but they're doing a good job.
It's a good job, right?
That's like the same thing what we do too. So like when we work with certain clients, like we'll put our logo at the bottom right-hand side. Normally, I never really did that. When I was like the speakeasy and I didn't have a website, I really didn't want to know who I was working with because I didn't want people to like reverse engineer my strategies knowing that it was me working on it. I was like that artist, right, that nobody knows who he exists. Starts with a B. What's his name? Anyway, he's like a famous artist. But then I realized that I was losing a lot of business because people would see our websites ranking high in Google and they want to know who's doing the SEO, and then they go to the bottom right-hand corner. And so we get business as a result of that because they see it, but then we're also getting strong backlinks as well from all of our clients too.
Similar thing we did actually in Home Alliance. All our technician students who got a certificate, we are actually creating a certificate page.
So smart.
And giving them digital version of the certificate and directory. So they can use it on their website or elsewhere. So it creates backlinks.
Yeah, no, that's so smart. Yeah.
Of course, we don't have so many students at Stanford, but whatever students we are having, they have a like private personalized page on our website.
So smart. I mean, there's so many different strategies, like we can get into advanced SEO. Like I built a whole website called iloveseo.com where we wrote about a lot of news in the world of SEO. And so because I had this website, you know, we have all SEO people linking to this website because they reference just naturally, right? Like I'm not trying to build links to iloveseo.com. People see it, they link to it. And then at the bottom of that website, there's only one link at the bottom of it that goes out, and it says Law Firm SEO, which then goes to my Law Firm SEO page. So I'm taking all of that link equity and I'm rerouting it just to one page. And so now I dominate that space when you type in Law Firm SEO.
So cool. If you like the video or you don't, comment below. Whoever is going to be putting a best comment, we're going to be sending a free copy of this book. Jason, thanks for the honest conversation. I believe whoever watched this video till the end, they learned a lot of valuable information, what they can implement to their businesses. And I wish I would watch these kind of videos like 10 years ago, right? Like if someone is starting a business, I'm sure they kind of have a kind of a roadmap of building multi-million-dollar business, like it's really scalable business. Like I'm sure like if you would watch and have this kind of mentor,
Sure.
It's really valuable, I think. Guys, if you like this video, please subscribe, share it, and leave your comments. It will be really valuable for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.